The cameras rolled, lights gleamed, and the mood on the view set felt deceptively calm. Whoopi Goldberg sat in her usual spot, confident, collected, ready to steer another lively morning discussion. Across from her sat a guest who radiated country grace, Reba McEntire. The country legend had been invited as a guest co-host, and at first everything seemed ordinary. There were smiles, laughter, and that polite TV warmth everyone recognizes. But beneath that polished surface, tension was quietly brewing. It began when Reba, in her slow, sincere voice, talked about real American values. The audience clapped. Whoopi smirked slightly, not out of humor but disbelief. "Well, Reba," she said, leaning forward, "whose America are we talking about exactly?" The air tightened. Reba chuckled softly, trying to diffuse the moment, but Whoopi wasn't smiling anymore. It wasn't a joke. It was a challenge. The other co-hosts sensed it too. Joy shifted in her seat. Sunny looked down at her notes, and the camera zoomed in on Reba's face. For the first time in her long career, she looked caught between grace and fury. "I think we're all talking about the same country," Reba replied gently. "We just see it from different porches." A small laugh from the audience, nervous, scattered. Whoopi didn't look away. She folded her arms, lips tight. "That's the thing," she said. "Some of us don't have porches to see it from." The silence was deafening. Even the crew hesitated. Something had shifted. This was no longer entertainment. It was personal. The red light on the camera stayed on, blinking, recording every breath, every pause. And then, just when everyone thought Whoopi would move on to the next topic, she leaned in closer and said something that made Reba's smile vanish completely. The audience leaned forward, sensing something raw and unscripted was unfolding. Whoopi's words cut through the air. "It's easy to talk about values when you've never had to fight for your place at the table." The studio froze. Reba's jaw tightened. That warm southern charm now cooled into something sharper. "Whoopi," she said slowly, "I fought my whole life. Just because I sing country music doesn't mean I don't know struggle." The audience didn't know whether to clap or stay silent. Whoopi raised an eyebrow. "Struggle looks different when you've always had a spotlight, honey." That word, honey, landed like a match in dry grass. Reba sat up straight. Her voice dropped an octave. "That's not fair. You don't know where I come from. You don't know what I've seen." The tension was electric. Sunny glanced at the producers off stage. Joy tried to cut in, "Ladies, ladies." But it was too late. Reba wasn't backing down. "I may be country," she said firmly, "but I've earned every inch of respect I've got. And I don't take kindly to being talked down to." Whoopi's eyes flickered with surprise. Maybe even a hint of regret, but pride held her in place. The energy in the room shifted again, from debate to confrontation. The crowd gasped, sensing something historic happening live. Reba wasn't just defending herself. She was speaking for something larger, a voice that felt ignored, mocked, dismissed by the very culture sitting at that table. The audience began to clap, louder this time, more certain. Whoopi's face hardened. She glanced toward the cameras. "Careful," she warned, and that's when Reba leaned forward, looked her straight in the eyes, and said something that daytime TV had never heard before, a statement that would echo across the internet within hours. Reba's voice trembled, not with fear, but conviction. "I'm tired of being told that loving my country makes me part of the problem," she said, her accent steady, every word deliberate. "Where I come from, people work hard, pray hard, and treat folks with respect. If that's offensive to this table, then maybe I'm at the wrong one." Gasps filled the studio. The audience erupted, half in cheers, half in disbelief. Whoopi raised her hand, trying to regain control. Hold on," she said firmly, her tone edging toward frustration. "This isn't about loving your country. It's about recognizing everybody's country." But the crowd wasn't calm anymore. Some shouted Reba's name. Others booed. The chaos made it clear. This moment was bigger than two women. It was a cultural collision happening in real time. Producers frantically signaled for a commercial break, but the tension didn't fade. The microphones were still live. In the background, Reba could be heard muttering, "You don't get to decide who's American enough to speak." Whoopi turned sharply, her voice low but caught by a nearby mic. "This isn't Nashville, sweetheart." "Watch your tone!" The screen abruptly cut to commercials, bright, smiling ads that felt surreal after what viewers had just witnessed. But before the broadcast returned, snippets of the off-air argument leaked onto social media. People began posting clips within minutes, millions watching what daytime TV had never shown. When the show came back, Whoopi was stone-faced, eyes cold. Reba's chair was empty. The hosts avoided looking at each other. Joy forced a shaky smile. "Welcome back," she said quietly. The camera panned over the empty seat once more. Something was wrong, and then, in a voice barely above a whisper, Sonny asked, Did Reba just leave the building?" The headlines exploded before the show even ended. "Reba McEntire walks off the View. Whoopi Goldberg faces backlash over heated exchange." What had started as a tense moment on live television had now spiraled into a national spectacle. By the time the credits rolled, producers were scrambling, publicists were panicking, and ABC executives were already on the phone drafting statements. Inside, sources began leaking conflicting stories. One claimed Reba stormed out on her own, furious and insulted. Another said security was quietly instructed to escort her off set for safety reasons. Meanwhile, Whoopi stayed behind, visibly shaken, but refusing to comment. Crew members later said she sat alone in her dressing room, silent, staring at the floor. Online, America was split right down the middle. Some called Reba a hero for standing her ground. Others accused her of disrespecting the show and turning patriotism into politics. Hashtags flooded Twitter, Team Reba versus Stand with Whoopi. Every clip, every glance, every second of that confrontation was replayed, analyzed, and debated like a courtroom case. The network released a cautious statement that evening, calling it an unfortunate misunderstanding. But the damage was already done. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Whoopi had given the network an ultimatum, either issue an apology or she'd walk too. Then, just when the noise began to settle, something new hit social media. Reba McEntire, silent until now, had broken her silence. On her official account, a single video appeared. No makeup, no lights, no studio polish. Just Reba sitting on her porch, staring straight into the camera. She took a deep breath, and before pressing post, she said 7 quiet words that would shake the story to its core. And those words were about to turn the entire conversation upside down. The video began with the soft sound of wind brushing through Reba's porch chimes. She looked straight into the camera. No script, no production team, just truth. "I won't apologize," she said, her voice calm but edged with steel. "Not for loving my country, not for speaking my mind, and not for standing up when someone tries to talk me down." Within minutes, the clip went viral. Millions watched. Comments flooded in, tears, praise, outrage. People said it felt like Reba was speaking for them, not to them. Hashtags flipped. Now it was Knocker Reba Speaks Truth, and even people who'd never followed her before were rallying behind her. Meanwhile, Whoopi Goldberg remained silent. ABC refused to release the full footage, fueling rumors of a cover-up. Leaks began surfacing, whispers from staffers claiming the fight off camera was far worse than what viewers saw. Some said Whoopi tried to apologize, others said she doubled down. No one could agree on what really happened. The talk show world buzzed with speculation. Was this a clash of personalities or a turning point in American television? The kind where entertainment, politics, and identity collide in front of millions and nobody walks away clean? Reba's video closed with a single sentence that felt like a challenge and a warning all at once. If standing for something gets you kicked off a show, maybe it's time we change what kind of shows we watch. That clip ended, but the storm didn't. Commentators, fans, and politicians all weighed in, and by the next morning, one thing was clear. Whoopi hadn't just lost a guest. She might have awakened a movement, and as the world waited for Whoopi's response, the question echoed everywhere. Was Reba McEntire silenced or set free? Before you scroll away, pause. Because what just unfolded isn't just another celebrity clash. It's a mirror held up to America. What happened between Reba McEntire and Whoopi Goldberg wasn't about fame or ego. It was about the voice of ordinary people being heard in places that rarely listen. Millions watched one woman walk out of a studio, but what if she walked into something much bigger? A movement, a moment, a reminder that truth doesn't always come dressed in TV makeup and teleprompter lines. Now we want to hear from you. Do you stand with Reba's unapologetic honesty? Or do you believe Whoopi was right to challenge her? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's open this conversation the mainstream media won't touch. Be respectful, be passionate, and don't hold back. If you believe voices like Reba's deserve to be heard, hit that like button. If you want the truth behind every headline, subscribe right now and turn on notifications because this story isn't over.